Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Creative CEO Podcast. My name is Georgie Turner. I'm an artist and a business owner. This is the podcast for anybody running a creative business alongside parenthood, running a household, maybe you have a part-time job. If you're trying to do it all like I am on your own, this is the podcast for you. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to try and do a weekly episode, but I'm actually doing this podcast whilst drawing. So if we can hear like a pencil scratching in the background, it's not your imagination, it is me. If it doesn't sound so good when I actually edit, I'm just going to have to delete this episode. So I'm testing something out. This is me trying to multitask a little bit. So I wanted to do a quick episode based around what if something goes wrong in your sort of personal life that's out of your control, but you have a business that you run on your own. This has come about because I had a situation this week. On Monday, I sent my daughter off to nursery. As normal, she had a bit of a temperature on the Sunday, but she was fine on the Monday morning. So I sent her off to nursery. My husband was in New York working away. And I got a call from nursery about 11 a.m. and they said, you're going to have to pick her up. Her temperature's really, really high. And then I won't bore you with all the sort of the details, but we ended up in hospital on Monday night because she was sicking up fluid and she was really dehydrated, and it escalated really quickly. And obviously I had all these plans for what I was going to achieve this week, how much, I knew that I had a commission to do, and I had all these sort of plans, and all of a sudden they were thrown out of the window. And this is obviously parenthood. Like, children will be sick all the time. And this is the first time that my daughter's been sick when I've been running my own business. So it was a bit of a wake-up call to how I will navigate the world of having a poorly child, but also trying to keep my business running. I ended up staying overnight in hospital with her on Monday, and I'd also already planned a print launch on the Tuesday. So I wanted to carry on with that print launch because I'd already told my email subscribers and I had it all prepared, and I thought, no, I can still do it. So I remember waking up because the nurse said they were going to come check her stats at sort of 2:30. So they woke us up and did her stats, and I was sat there thinking, oh my God, I haven't done my email. So I was sat in the hospital at 3 a.m. writing my email for the day after, which I'm not advising you to do that, but that was just the situation I found myself in. So what this episode is about is things that I have decided that I'm going to implement into my business to help me when these situations come up again, because even though I don't want it to happen again, it inevitably something like this will happen again, and I need to give myself a bit of help and prepare for these situations because they will happen. So I've thought of 5 things that I'm going to do, and it might be a good idea, especially if you've got children as well, for you to think about the things that you could have in place for when something happens and that's completely out of your control and you have to just take a step back from your business. It's a lot easier if you've got employees. When I used to work in the school, everyone, if you were poorly or if you had to take time off, someone else would just pick up the slack for you. Like, someone else would just cover your classes. But you don't have that. You don't have that luxury when you're a business owner, especially when you're a business owner and you just work on your own like I do. And I did think to myself, I was like, what departments would I technically have if I had employees? I would think I'd have like a marketing department, I'd have an accounts department, I'd have like postage and packaging. So I was thinking about all elements of my business that I would essentially, if I had those employees, I'd just hand over the tasks to them if something like this happened. And that's helped me create like a list of 5 things that I'm going to put in place to help me. So obviously, if something happens, it totally depends on your business about what is important to keep going if you need to take some time off. If you are, say you're an Etsy seller and you sell a lot of like small items, but you don't need to make them, maybe you've got all the items in stock, then actually the sort of the actual processing orders and packaging out, that might be the most important thing to you. I don't have that as much. The most important thing for me is my marketing, so my social media and my actual commissions. Obviously, commissions for me, no one else can do them, but obviously communication with your clients is important. And luckily, most people in the world are very, very understanding if something's gone wrong, especially when it involves your family, that they understand when you have to postpone their commission. But the caveat to that is what if there is a really big deadline and so you've got a birthday? I would feel really guilty if I didn't honor the deadline that I'd promised, if it meant that the recipient would miss out on like an important birthday. So the first thing that I am definitely going to make sure I do, and I'm pretty good at this anyway, is not working so close to deadlines. By not working so close to your deadlines, you are allowing yourself a little bit of space in case something goes wrong. So I've already kind of implemented that, but it's something that maybe you need to think about if you are a commission-based artist. Number 2 is an out-of-office template set up for this situation. I didn't have this set up, and I thought this could have been really, really simple for me to just quickly turn on whilst I was sat in A&E waiting to be triaged, or waiting for my daughter to be triaged. But I didn't have it set up, and I had an influx of inquiries on Monday, and it was really typical. And I had all these emails come through and I just ignored them. And then I messaged them all kind of like on the Thursday, once I felt like I was back in the right frame of mind to message everyone back, and I had to obviously apologise. If I just had an out of office template that said something really simple, like it's going to take me a little bit longer to respond to queries, there's a family matters come up, you don't even have to tell people what's going on, that would have really helped just ease my mind. Because sometimes I do worry that if I don't respond back to people, they're going to think, respond back to them within a couple of days, that they're going to think that that's really bad customer service and not want to commission me or buy anything from me. So having an out of office would have been a really good idea, and I recommend that you set one of those up. And you can have different ones for like holiday and then obviously sickness or whatever you want to say, but that would have been one thing that would have been really good. Number 3 is I use ManyChat for my Instagram posts, and I have this set up actually, but I have one generic keyword that is I can, if somebody puts that comment with the keyword print on any of my posts, it will automatically send them a DM. Now, the reason why I've put this on the list is because if you wanted to make sure that you continue to do a social media post whilst you were, whatever your family situation is, if you wanted to make sure that you kept up with your social media, if you have a ManyChat comments set up that's sort of generic, then you are hitting your call to action on your social media post without having to really think about it. So say you have a keyword set up on ManyChat that was for every single post. It means that if you just wanted to post something that was really, really quick, you've kind of covered all your bases for a good social media post, but without having to think too hard about what your call to action is. So that was just something that's not maybe relevant to every single business, but that was just something to do with social media that I really thought would help me. On the back of that also, I am going to make sure that I have just a couple of posts, or maybe not reels, because reels have to be sort of current and trending. Reels are a bit different, but posts. Have a couple of pre-made posts, and they could just be sat in Canva, and use them if you just want to post something, or maybe you want to put something on Facebook and you don't want to tell people that there's something wrong. You just want to like sort of keep the ball rolling with your social media marketing and have something pre-made. So your pre-made posts could be something generic like an about you post. It could be like a reintroduction post, because you can do those whenever you want, really. Reintroduce people to you, to your business. An inspiration post, so like things that have inspired you, you could have that as a sort of generic post ready to go. Anything that's relatable to the processes of your business. For me, it could be, how do I package? What's the commission process? If you're a jewelry maker, you could do like a carousel post about the journey from your warehouse to your customer. So just a couple of posts that are just pre-made and they're ready to go, and you can just have them sat in your Canva, or you can have them saved in your Instagram app, but if that app not closes, if that app is uninstalled, then you'll lose those drafts. And then the fifth one, I would have written down instructions for a part of your business that needs to keep itself going. So if, for example, you do end up like in hospital with your child and you really need to get some orders out, and you can say to your best friend or your mum or whoever, look, I'm really sorry, could you help me just package up these parcels? And if they have absolutely no idea like what to do, what to place inside the parcels, just have some instructions written down so you don't have to worry about anything. They can just take the instructions and do it. And like if it's a more of a long-term problem, obviously you will need to like have something that keeps going. I think the most important thing when you have to suddenly stop working for whatever reason is communication. If you communicate with your social media following, if you communicate with your clients, if you communicate with people who've ordered from you and just say, look, I need to just, stop for a few days because this has happened, or you don't have to say what's happened. I think communication is everything. So that was just a really, really quick episode. By the way, my daughter is fine now. She's over it. She's back to her bubbly, cheeky self. But I just thought it was a really good sort of example of when you are running your business on your own and something goes wrong, having a few systems in place that will really help you to have the peace of mind that your business is being taken care of, even in a more limited capacity. And then you can just focus on your family or your dog or whatever the situation is. And then you are not stressing. Because like the nice thing about having your own business, I realized, is you actually have the flexibility to be there when something happens. There is also nothing wrong with just shutting everything down if you just need to take it off. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found that useful. Please don't forget to follow the show, leave me a review and leave me a rating. It will help me more than you know to elevate this podcast and push it to more people. Thank you so much for listening. I will speak to you next week. Bye.